Well, I actually feel like that could have gone a lot worse. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. This is a match review of Chelsea 0, Man City 2. And before we get started, I wanted to ask a favor. For all of you watching, could you please drop a like down while you're watching this video right now? Comment. All the interaction really helps people to find my channel, and I love it as well, and I love hearing your thoughts, so really appreciate it. But let's get into this match review and my thoughts on it. And spoiler alert, I don't think that this was as dire of a game that many people might think it to be. So why do I say that? Honestly, I was expecting Chelsea to get smashed. I predicted a 3-1. I guess it's still like a 2-goal difference win, but I was just expecting us to not have any possession, to not look at all in the game, but we did have chances, which I was surprised about. I was pleasantly surprised about how a lot of players played, and I also went into this with the mentality that this is a City side that have been playing under the same manager for 8 to 9 years, that they are a cohesive unit. They've only made one signing this summer, so they all know the system, they all know what's expected of them and how they're meant to play, compared to this Chelsea side that is continuously just getting kind of chopped and changed, and you're having players who were super senior making a ton of appearances, or the all-time appearances last season, getting sold, like Conor Gallagher. You have a lot of senior players just being left out of the squad, like Ben Chilwell. The big surprise today was that Raheem Sterling was also left out of the squad. So you have this Chelsea side that have all these new signings. They've only had 6 weeks under Enzo Maresca. He even mentioned that the time in the US, it doesn't feel like much of a preseason, like he's really able to get the work done at Cobham, but at the time in the US, it's like very difficult to do that. And you have all these new signings that are coming in. They're all very young, and what I'm seeing is that Chelsea have so many players, and we need to figure out the best places to play each of these players and how they're all going to fit in, because you do have players that play better in different systems and play better in different roles, and so how can you make that work and adapt it for how Enzo Maresca wants to play? So that was like the main thing that I saw. And I was going into this knowing that I expected City to win, so I'm not feeling so upset that they actually did go on to win. Like, it would have been quite surprising if Chelsea won this game or even drew, honestly. Like, we're just not at the same level, and that's something that we have to accept, whether you like it or not. That's where we are. As for the team itself, I felt that Romeo Lavia played really well. I was surprised to see him getting taken off when he did, because I did feel that Enzo Fernandez was struggling in this game. I think when he's playing further up the pitch, you just don't get the best out of him. When he's playing a bit further back, you get that vision and he has the creative passing, but I didn't really see him contributing in the attacking aspects in the role that he was playing, and I actually felt that he was slowing down some of the attack. There were a couple of times when I even saw him like get in the way of Nico Jackson, and they kind of overlapped each other, and that's just coming from players not knowing their position and where they should be on the pitch. So I don't think that it was Enzo Fernandez's best game. I'm curious to see where he fits in, because I did think Lavia, like I said, had a really good game, and I think like I could see him being a starter. I think Caicedo's being a starter, and then you've spent all this money on Enzo Fernandez, and where's he fitting into this system? I'm not quite sure yet, unless you go rotating him out with the likes of Caicedo and Lavia and rotating them and giving them minutes based off of different games. There are a lot of games in the season. Felt that Robert Sanchez made a couple of good saves, but he had so many like iffy moments with the ball, and then eventually it led to that Kovacic goal. So I do think, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea don't start him going forward, because I don't think that that performance warranted him getting another chance. Like, it was more of the same what we've seen from him, that he can have these really good moments, but then like, I don't know what it is, if it's a concentration lapse, if he's just not good with his feet, but my understanding is that the goalkeeper does need to have good distribution in this Maresca system, and that's not something that I saw from Robert Sanchez today, so I would be surprised. I know Chelsea have just signed another goalkeeper, so maybe we'll even see him start for the next Premier League game. Thought for the back line, like you're looking at some players that haven't played in a while, like Fofana. It was great to see him back. I don't have so many notes on him. I think maybe because I was more focused on the attack. Colwill, I think, was a bit at fault for Haaland's first goal, but Haaland did do really well. Like, he still had a lot of work, and he's just one of the best players in the world. Cucurella looked like he was almost able to save it, but I felt like Colwill should have maybe stayed a bit closer to him. Difficult because it's Haaland, but I do think that he is going to take that as a learning moment. Again, first game of the season, so we're going to see these like kind of mistakes happen. And then looking at the attack, Cole Palmer obviously joined the squad late. He didn't get the preseason because England went so far, well, to the final of the Euros, and he was playing out wide, and that's obviously not his best position. We like to see him a little bit more tucked in or in that 10 role, and you could see that he was still trying to affect the game. He had a good shot that almost led to a goal. It was when Nico Jackson actually scored, but it was ruled offside, and I'll talk more about him in a minute. But other than that, I don't feel like we got the absolute best out of Cole Palmer because that's not his absolute best position. Like, I still was surprised at how well he did, considering the fact that he hasn't been for the majority of preseason and that he was playing not in his best position. Like, he's just so good. But I think that we can see him have so much more influence over the game if we see that, and Chelsea really need like an out-and-out winger in those areas. Had similar feelings on Nkunku. I felt, again, like he's another one that's not an out-and-out winger. He does better playing like off of the striker or behind the striker. I would even be curious to see him play like as a 9 or false 9, whatever you want to call it, because he does have that killer instinct, and he is able to find the ball in the back of the net. Like, he knows where the ball is, he knows where the goal is, and that's something that is difficult to train. Sometimes it's just something inherent with players, and we've seen that with Nkunku, but I don't think that we saw the absolute best from him, again, because he wasn't playing in his best position. And here's where it gets interesting, here's where it gets difficult, because Chelsea have so many players. I feel like Cole Palmer kind of occupies like more of an inverted space on that right hand side. Maybe Nkunku would occupy more of an inverted space on that left hand side. They can both occupy that 10 space as well. So like, how do you fit these players into the team? I don't know. And I was surprised in the game when Maresca took off Nkunku instead of Enzo Fernandez, because I thought, okay, maybe you can slot Nkunku at least a little bit further central and see how he can affect it, because he is one of your best goal scorers, but he didn't do that. So we have so many players. Obviously, Curtin Dewsbury Hall came into the game. Pedro Neto came into the game as well. I was pleasantly surprised with Neto. Like, he was on for all of 2 minutes, and I was like, wow, he's affecting the game, he's doing great. So I'm very keen to see more from him, but I don't know just yet how all these players fit in with each other and where their best positions are given this system. And then to add to that, you also might have Joao Felix coming back to Chelsea, and I don't think he's like an out-and-out winger either, so I don't know where he's going to fit. I don't know what the plan is. So Maresca touched on it a bit in a post-match interview with NBC, talking about, well, he does have a lot of players and he's in the process of trying to figure out where everybody plays best. The transfer window is still open, so we can maybe expect some players to go out on loan, some players to be sold, and that's going to trim the squad a bit and help out. But especially in that attack, I don't see like the strategy at the moment. I just feel like Chelsea have so many players, and I don't know where they're all going to play best. So wait and see on that one. And just to touch on Nico Jackson, like, he could have had probably 2 goals in this game, and it's a bit disappointing because if he had held his line on the Cole Palmer shot, that would have been a goal. That would have been Chelsea's equalizer, and the game could have gone a completely different way, but he didn't. And I don't know if it's a lapse of concentration again, or if he just doesn't realize, but that's the sort of thing that he really needs to train, because we saw it a lot last season that he just gets called off or offside and he doesn't wait, he's not patient enough, so he has to have a little bit more, like, I was gonna say technical ability, but that's not the word, but just to know to wait and time his runs better, because we can see that he is getting into those positions. He is getting those opportunities. So if he can just like have that, I do think that he's going to score. I'm not like as upset about Nico Jackson as a lot of people I've seen on social media. So a lot of people calling for Osimhen, or just another striker to join Chelsea. I don't know if that's necessarily the answer. He did score 14 goals last season. I do think that he's a good goal scorer, but he's still raw. He's still raw, and we don't want to have patience with raw players. So I get it, but I do think that there's a good goal scorer in there, but he needs to learn these things, and he's going to need to learn them fast. All in all, I tweeted that I didn't think that it was like such a bad performance. I thought that there were plenty of positives to draw from this performance, a lot of learnings as well. A lot of people did not agree with that. They say that the bar has dropped massively for Chelsea, and let's be real, like, we haven't made the top 4 for the past 2 seasons. Like, the bar has dropped, and this is where we are now, so we just have to take it and hope that the team can grow. And I don't know, I liked what I saw from Maresca. I do tend to be more positive of a Chelsea fan than the average maybe on social media, but I liked what I saw. I really liked what I heard in the post-match press conference or interviews. Levi Colwill also was speaking very, very highly about him and how they just automatically clicked and bought into his vision and how they want to play well for him and execute it well. So I think that speaks very highly of him, since he's only had a couple of weeks with the team. So all in all, it's not a terrible performance. You're playing against arguably the best team in the world, if not one of the best teams in the world. Like, Man City and Real Madrid, I think, are the 2 best out there. So it's what I would expect. Yes, City never got out of second gear. Yes, they were missing a ton of first team players, but that's where Chelsea are. And I think that there are plenty of positives that Chelsea could take from this game. So I would rather take them than harp on all of the negatives, because we're going to need to see signs of improvement. It's obvious there's going to be things to improve. I do think that we have to improve like the finishing, which is something that's been a constant over Chelsea over the past couple of years. We do need to figure out the players' best positions. We do need to figure out the goalkeeper situation as well. But these are all things that have been present over Chelsea for years, and it's not going to get solved in a couple of weeks. And hopefully we can see them get solved eventually. But that's kind of where we're at now. So let me know what your thoughts are on the game. Do you agree, disagree with my take? I want to know down below. Thank you again so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any suggestions for how to make these match reviews better, please do let me know. I'm trying to think of maybe some graphics, but I haven't thought of anything yet. So I figured, let me just talk to camera, see how people like it, because graphics do take a long time, and then kind of go from there. But if you have any suggestions or anything you want to see, please do let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day, evening, whatever time you're watching this, and until next time, I'm out. Bye!